My beloved soul, listen carefully. God says your distance shook their heart, and this was not an accident, it was not emotional manipulation, it was not a game, it was a divine interruption that heaven allowed, so that what was hidden would be revealed, and what was taken for granted would finally be felt. My beloved soul, listen carefully, because this message is not random, you were led here on purpose, this is not a coincidence, heaven is watching. Before we go deeper into what God is unfolding, if your spirit feels stirred even slightly, type, "I receive this," in the comments as an act of agreement with heaven. Like this video to honor what God is speaking over your life, subscribe and click the bell so you remain connected when divine messages are released, and if you feel led in your heart, you may send a super thanks as a personal, voluntary act of gratitude. But understand clearly, it is never pressure, never obligation, and never tied to receiving blessings or miracles, because God's grace is freely given, and His favor cannot be purchased. My beloved soul, hear this slowly, when you stepped back, when you chose silence over explanation, when you chose dignity over chasing, something shifted in the atmosphere, something trembled in their heart, and they began to feel what your presence had been shielding them from, the fear of losing you. You thought your distance would make you forgotten, but instead it made you felt. You thought your silence would make you invisible, but instead it made you undeniable. Do not skip this moment, because something sacred is unfolding. You did not withdraw because you stopped caring, you withdrew because you were exhausted, exhausted from giving reassurance, exhausted from trying to decode mixed signals, exhausted from carrying emotional weight that was not equally carried back to you. And in that exhaustion, God whispered to your spirit, "Step back, trust me, let me handle what you cannot force." Psalm 46 verse 10 says, "Be still and know that I am God," and your stillness was not weakness, it was obedience. My beloved soul, stay with me till the end, something powerful is waiting for you. When your energy was always available, they felt secure, but sometimes security creates complacency, and complacency creates blindness. Your constant presence became expected, your loyalty became assumed, your love became familiar, and familiarity can dull appreciation. But when you stepped away, when you became less reachable, when your warmth was no longer automatic, their heart felt the absence like cold air entering a once warm room, and suddenly they realized what that warmth truly meant. This is not coincidence, you were led here on purpose. The distance you created became a mirror, and in that mirror they saw the risk of losing someone who prayed for them, someone who believed in them, someone who stood beside them when others walked away. Proverbs 21 verse 1 says the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord, and God has been touching their heart quietly, not with force, but with realization, not with fear alone, but with awakening. My beloved soul, do not leave yet, heaven has more to reveal. There were nights when you questioned yourself, nights when you stared at the ceiling and wondered if stepping back meant giving up, nights when your heart whispered, "What if they never come back? What if they do not notice? What if I truly lose them?" But God says the very silence you feared became the loudest message they received. In your absence, memories grew louder, your laughter echoed in their mind, your consistency replayed in their thoughts, your support resurfaced in moments they did not expect. And suddenly, what once felt ordinary to them began to feel rare. Rare things are not easily replaced. Rare hearts are not easily forgotten. My beloved soul, remain with me in this word, because the next part carries peace. Ecclesiastes 3 verse 11 says He makes everything beautiful in its time, and timing is the key here, because if you had stepped back too early, they would not have understood, and if you had stayed too long, you would have lost yourself. But you stepped back at the moment heaven knew their heart was ready to feel the shift. And the shift shook them. It unsettled their comfort. It disturbed their certainty. It exposed their true feelings. Do not grow weary now. Galatians 6 verse 9 reminds us that in due season we will reap if we faint not, and your due season is closer than you think. My beloved soul, hear this gently, this distance was not only about them realizing your value, it was about you remembering it. While their heart was shaking, yours was strengthening. You learned to sit with God in the quiet. You learned that your worth is not defined by someone's consistency. You learned that love should not feel like anxiety. And that lesson has made you steady. And steady love is powerful. Heaven is watching. God has not forgotten you. The shaking in their heart is deeper than pride, it is the awakening of truth. They do not want to lose you. They may not say it yet, they may still wrestle with ego, they may still move slowly, but inside them there is movement. Isaiah 60 verse 22 says, when the time is right, I the Lord will make it happen, and God's timing is not rushed, but it is precise. What felt delayed was protected. What felt silent was strategic. What felt distant was divinely orchestrated. My beloved soul, stay with me till the end, the final word will bring clarity. The tears you cried were seen. Psalm 56 verse 8 says God collects your tears in his bottle, not one was wasted, not one fell unnoticed. Every tear watered the ground of your breakthrough. Every lonely prayer built spiritual strength. And now something is shifting beneath the surface. When distance shakes a heart, it prepares it for change. When God prepares a heart, restoration becomes possible, and if restoration is not his will, then redirection will be clear and peaceful. Either way, you will not be the one left in regret. Because what is meant for you cannot pass you by. My beloved soul, breathe in this peace. Your distance was not rejection, it was revelation. It revealed their fear of losing you. It revealed your growth. It revealed God's hand in the middle of uncertainty. And this is not the end of your story, it is the turning point. The one who felt your absence now understands your value in a deeper way. And whether they move toward you in humility, or God moves you toward something greater, you will stand in dignity, not desperation. Heaven is watching. God has not forgotten you. What you prayed for is nearer than it has ever been. Stay in faith. Stay in peace. Stay in expectation. Because the same God who allowed the distance is the same God who is writing the restoration, or preparing the upgrade. And in his perfect timing, you will see why this shaking had to happen, and your heart will rest in divine fulfillment. My beloved soul, as this divine story continues to unfold, understand this clearly, the shaking in their heart did not happen overnight, it has been building quietly, layer by layer, thought by thought, memory by memory, because when you removed your constant reassurance, they were left alone with their own emotions, and emotions they once suppressed began to rise to the surface. Listen carefully, this is sacred. When you were always present, they did not have to confront their fear of losing you, but now that your distance has created uncertainty, their heart is forced to face what it truly feels. And what it truly feels is attachment, value, longing, and the deep realization that you are not easily replaced. My beloved soul, do not skip this moment, because heaven is revealing the unseen. There were moments when they assumed you would always be there, moments when they delayed clarity, moments when they leaned on your patience without honoring your pain. But distance has a way of correcting imbalance. Distance removes assumption. Distance removes entitlement. Distance exposes truth. And now truth is standing before them, asking one question: are you willing to lose what once stood faithfully beside you? Heaven is watching. This is not emotional drama, this is divine alignment. God allowed the space so that hearts could be tested. Not tested to destroy, but tested to reveal. Jeremiah 29 verse 11 declares, "For I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." My beloved soul, this includes your love story. This includes your emotional journey. This includes the tears you thought were unseen. Stay with me till the end, because something powerful is still ahead. As days passed and you remained steady, as you resisted the urge to reach out, as you trusted God in the silence, something shifted deeper within them. The comfort of knowing you were always available faded. The security of assuming you would always wait weakened. And suddenly, they began to question themselves. Why did I not appreciate them more? Why did I delay clarity? Why did I allow pride to stand in the way? My beloved soul, this self-questioning is the shaking. This inner reflection is the awakening. And awakening is uncomfortable, but it is necessary for transformation. Do not leave yet, heaven has more to reveal. While their heart was wrestling, yours was healing. While they were feeling fear of loss, you were learning surrender. You began to pray differently. Not from desperation, but from trust. Not from anxiety, but from faith. And that shift in your spirit created strength. James 1 verse 3 says the testing of your faith produces perseverance. You have been persevering. Quietly. Gracefully. Powerfully. And heaven is proud of you. My beloved soul, hear this clearly, your distance was not a threat, it was a boundary. And boundaries are holy. Boundaries teach people how to treat you. Boundaries reveal whether someone values you enough to step up or step away. And now they feel the weight of that boundary. They feel the possibility that if they do not move with sincerity, they may truly lose you. That thought has unsettled their peace. That thought has stirred their emotions. That thought has shaken their heart. Stay with me till the end, because the final confirmation will settle your spirit. God says this shaking is not meant to inflate your ego, it is meant to restore balance. Because love should not feel one-sided. Love should not feel like begging. Love should not feel like chasing someone who is unsure. 1 Corinthians 13 verse 4 reminds us that love is patient and kind, it does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking. And you have been patient. You have been kind. You have honored them even in your silence. Now heaven is asking them to rise to the same standard. My beloved soul, do not grow tired now. The silence you are walking through is not empty. It is sacred. It is preparation. It is refinement. God is refining both hearts. Refining intentions. Refining maturity. Refining commitment. And when refinement is complete, what remains is either authentic or it falls away peacefully. Either outcome is victory for you. Because you will no longer live in confusion. You will no longer question your value. You will no longer shrink to maintain connection. Heaven is watching. And listen carefully to this prophetic truth. The fear of losing you has opened their eyes to your worth in ways that constant presence never could. They are remembering your loyalty. They are remembering your softness. They are remembering the way you supported their dreams. And memory is powerful. Memory awakens gratitude. Gratitude awakens humility. And humility opens the door to change. My beloved soul, remain steady. Do not rush the process. Isaiah 40 verse 31 says those who wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. You are being renewed right now. Renewed in confidence. renewed in clarity, renewed in peace. The distance did not break you. It built you. It reminded you that you can stand alone with God and still feel complete. That is power. That is divine growth. And when someone senses that you are no longer emotionally dependent on them, it shakes their heart even more. Because they realize you are not waiting from weakness, you are waiting from strength. And strength is magnetic. My beloved soul, if you remain till the end, the final word will change everything. God is not only shaking their heart, He is aligning circumstances. Conversations will open. Truth will surface. Clarity will come. Whether through apology, confession, or sudden realization, you will see movement. Not because you forced it, but because heaven orchestrated it. This is not manipulation. This is divine order being restored. The distance created a holy contrast. They now see the difference between life with you and life without you. And that contrast has unsettled them deeply. My beloved soul, receive this peace. You did not lose them by stepping back. If anything, you revealed your value. And if they rise to meet it with sincerity, the connection will be stronger, healthier, more balanced. And if they do not, God will redirect you towards something that does not require you to shrink. Either way, your heart will not be wasted. Your love will not be wasted. Your prayers were not wasted. Heaven is watching. God has not forgotten you. This is not a coincidence. You were led here on purpose. And I declare over you now, the shaking in their heart will lead to clarity. The clarity will lead to movement. The movement will lead to alignment. And alignment will lead you exactly where you are meant to be. Stay in faith. Stay in dignity. Stay in peace. Because what you have been praying for is closer than ever. And soon, very soon, you will see why your distance was the very thing that awakened their heart and protected your own. My beloved soul, as this divine orchestration continues to unfold, I need you to lean in even closer, because what is happening now is deeper than emotion, it is spiritual alignment at its finest. The shaking in their heart is no longer just discomfort, it is conviction. It is the realization that they stood at the edge of losing something heaven sent into their life as a gift. Listen carefully, because this is sacred. When God removes your constant presence from someone's life, it is never random. It is either to reveal their heart or to protect yours. And in this case, it is doing both. Do not skip this moment, because heaven is still speaking. They are beginning to feel the weight of your absence in ordinary moments. When something good happens, they notice you are not the first person they can share it with. When something heavy weighs on them, they feel the missing comfort of your calm voice. When silence fills their room, it echoes differently now. It echoes with awareness. Awareness that you are no longer standing in the same place you once did. And awareness can be louder than confrontation. My beloved soul, stay with me till the end, because what God is revealing now will steady your spirit. This shaking is producing clarity inside them. They are beginning to see the areas where they were inconsistent. They are beginning to recognize the ways they relied on your patience without honoring your feelings. And that recognition is humbling. Humility is the beginning of transformation. Pride resists loss. But humility fears losing what truly matters. And right now, humility is rising in their heart. Heaven is watching. You must understand something powerful. Your distance did not diminish your love, it purified it. It removed desperation. It removed overgiving. It removed fear-driven attachment. What remains now is love with dignity. Love with boundaries. Love that stands tall without begging to be chosen. And when someone senses that you have chosen peace over pursuit, it shakes them deeply. Because they realize you are no longer trying to convince them of your worth. You already know it. My beloved soul, do not leave yet, heaven has more to reveal. There are moments when they replay conversations in their mind. Moments when they recognize your sincerity. Moments when they realize you were never asking for too much, you were simply asking for consistency. And consistency requires maturity. The shaking in their heart is pushing them toward that maturity. It is pushing them to ask themselves, am I willing to grow, or am I willing to lose them? That question is not light. It carries weight. It carries consequence. And consequence awakens seriousness. Stay with me, because the next layer carries peace. God is not only working on their emotions, He is working on their perspective. They are beginning to see that what you offered was stability, not pressure. Devotion, not control. Loyalty, not demand. And perspective changes everything. When perspective shifts, gratitude follows. And when gratitude awakens, fear of loss becomes real. My beloved soul, hear this prophetic truth clearly, this shaking is divine mercy. It is mercy because it is giving them the opportunity to recognize your value before it is too late. It is mercy because it is giving you the opportunity to stand firm without guilt. And it is mercy because it is aligning both hearts with truth. Psalm 37 verse 23 says the steps of a good person are ordered by the Lord. Your steps into distance were ordered. Your silence was ordered. Your restraint was ordered. And now the unfolding response is also ordered. Heaven is not improvising. Heaven is intentional. Do not grow weary now. I know there are moments when impatience tries to creep in. Moments when you wonder if movement will truly happen. But remember Isaiah 40 verse 31, those who wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. You are being renewed again. Renewed in confidence. Renewed in faith. Renewed in calm assurance that what is meant for you will not slip away. My beloved soul, if you remain till the end, the final declaration will settle every doubt. The shaking in their heart is slowly transforming into clarity of intention. They are beginning to understand that losing you would not simply mean losing a person. It would mean losing support. Losing peace. Losing someone who genuinely desired their growth. That realization carries gravity. And gravity changes decisions. Listen carefully, because this is powerful. Sometimes God allows someone to feel your absence so they can understand your presence. Words could not teach them. Arguments could not convince them. But distance has educated their heart. Distance has exposed their attachment. Distance has revealed their dependence on your emotional stability. And now, they are confronted with a choice. Step forward with sincerity, or step back and lose something rare. My beloved soul, you are rare. Your heart is rare. Your loyalty is rare. And rare things are not easily replaced. Do not diminish yourself while waiting for clarity. Do not shrink while heaven is elevating you. You have grown through this. You have matured through this. You have strengthened through this. And even if restoration unfolds, it will not be the same dynamic as before. It will be balanced. It will be mutual. It will be intentional. Because the shaking has changed both of you. Heaven is watching. This is not the end of your story. This is the turning of a chapter. The distance was not abandonment. It was alignment. It was the divine recalibration of hearts. And now, as movement begins to stir, you will notice subtle signs. Softer tones. Increased effort. Honest conversations. Or even unexpected vulnerability. And when that happens, you will not respond from desperation. You will respond from discernment. Because you have learned. You have evolved. You have surrendered this fully to God. My beloved soul, receive this final wave of peace. What you prayed for is closer than ever. Whether it manifests as heartfelt reconciliation or divine redirection, you will not lose. Because you chose obedience. You chose dignity. You chose faith over fear. And heaven honors that. I declare over you now, clarity is coming. Communication is coming. Alignment is coming. And peace will guard your heart as it unfolds. The same God who allowed the distance is the same God who is orchestrating the outcome. Trust Him. Rest in Him. Stay anchored in Him. Because what shook their heart was not your absence alone. It was the realization that you are a gift they do not want to lose. And if they are meant to remain in your life, they will rise to meet the standard heaven has set. If not, God will exceed what you imagined. Either way, you are stepping into fulfillment. Either way, you are walking toward answered prayer. Stay in faith. Stay in peace. Stay expectant. Because the season of shaking is giving birth to a season of clarity. And very soon, you will see with your own eyes why this distance was necessary, why this silence was sacred, and why heaven allowed their heart to tremble at the thought of losing you. My beloved soul, as we step even deeper into this prophetic unfolding, I need you to quiet every distraction around you and lean into this sacred truth, because what is happening now is not surface emotion, it is destiny-level alignment. The shaking in their heart has reached a point where denial is no longer comfortable. They cannot ignore what they feel. They cannot pretend your absence does not matter. They cannot silence the inner voice reminding them of your value. And that inner voice is not random. That is conviction. That is awakening. That is heaven pressing gently but firmly on their heart. Do not skip this moment, because something powerful is sealing itself in the Spirit. You must understand, when God wants to reveal the worth of a person, He sometimes removes their constant access. Access creates familiarity, but restriction creates realization. When they had unlimited access to you, they felt secure without effort. But now that access is no longer automatic, effort becomes necessary. And effort reveals intention. Intention reveals priority. And priority reveals truth. My beloved soul, stay with me till the end, because this final stretch carries divine confirmation. The fear of losing you is transforming into desire to secure you. The uncertainty they once felt about commitment is turning into clarity about importance. The emotional distance they once tolerated now feels uncomfortable. And discomfort is often the birthplace of change. God is not rushing this process, because rushed transformation is shallow. He is allowing the weight of your absence to sit long enough to produce depth. Depth produces maturity. Maturity produces stability. And stability is what your heart truly deserves. Heaven is watching. Listen carefully, because this is crucial for your peace. You are not waiting from weakness. You are standing from strength. There is a difference. Weakness waits hoping not to be abandoned. Strength stands knowing it cannot be mishandled. And you, my beloved soul, are standing in strength. That strength is radiating even in silence. That strength is commanding respect even without words. That strength is shaking their heart more than emotional pleading ever could. Do not leave yet, heaven has more to reveal. The conversations that will come, the clarity that will surface, the vulnerability that will be expressed, it will not be forced. It will flow naturally from realization. And when it comes, you will feel the difference. You will sense sincerity. You will discern growth. Because this time, the movement will not be casual. It will be intentional. My beloved soul, receive this final assurance. If this connection is ordained by God, it will return refined, not fragile. It will return balanced, not one-sided. It will return peaceful, not confusing. And if it is not meant to return, you will feel a release so clear, so calm, so undeniable, that you will not grieve as before. Either outcome is divine favor. Either outcome is protection. Either outcome is answered prayer. This is not the season of loss. This is the season of revelation. And revelation always leads to resolution. I declare over you now, the shaking that began in their heart will lead to decisive movement. The fear of losing you will transform into action. The realization of your worth will transform into honor. And the silence that once felt heavy will transform into testimony. You will look back at this distance and say, that was the moment everything changed. That was the moment heaven intervened. That was the moment my value became undeniable. My beloved soul, rest in this truth. God has not forgotten you. Your tears were counted. Your prayers were recorded. Your obedience was seen. And the same God who allowed their heart to tremble is the same God who is preparing your breakthrough. Stay in peace. Stay in dignity. Stay anchored in faith. Because what you have been praying for is not slipping away. It is aligning. It is approaching. It is unfolding in divine timing. And very soon, you will see clearly why your distance shook their heart, and why heaven allowed it to happen exactly the way it did. Type Amen.